my name is Ethan Hamlet-Stroll, and in today's video, I'm going to be walking you through how to create a simple account sales report template. I'll be walking you through some of the features that DocumentsCorePack has to offer as well, including our advanced string field, our dynamic aggregation tables, and our normal dynamic relationship tables. This video serves as a bit of a visual guide to a sample template that we have on our website. So if you'd like to check that out, or if you'd just like to check out our website, please consider checking out the video description down below. Now then, let's get started, shall we? So here we are in Microsoft Word. We've already got our mscrm-addons tab selected here, and we've got our DocumentsCorePack template designer off on the right side. What is the point of this template? What is the purpose of this template? And that's something that we should establish before we get into this. The purpose of this template is to be able to generate a document that gives a general overview and some details on some of the sales-related entities of a given account. This overview will show our invoice, quote, and opportunity entities, and the details will go into, as indicated, a little bit more detail on each of these entities. So to show you what we're aiming for here, you can see on screen an example document that I've already produced. This example document has a few different things that I want to point out. At the top here we have a title, which shows Account Sales Report 2023, and the example record that we want to use. We have a table of contents down here. Below that, we have an overview section, which goes over the sales-related entities that we want to display. And at the very last part of this document, we have a details section. And this details section covers the sales-related entities plus their respective records in a bit more detail. That's the kind of template that we want to create today. But before we start getting into the table creation, one thing that I want to point out here is this, the type. One thing that is always important to set before you even start creating your template is making sure that this type is set to the right entity that you want it to be. In our instance, we want to create an account template, thus the type should be account, and because of that, we have already got that selected, so we're good to go there. The next thing I want to do is I want to create a dynamic template name, which can be found under Advanced Template Settings. I'll go ahead and click on that, make this window just a little bit smaller, and here we are under Document Name and Subject. So what we want to do is we want to create a dynamic document name, which means that whenever we create or generate a document based on this template, we want the name to be different depending on the record that we select. In our case, we want to create a document name that gives a different account name depending on the account that we're selecting it on. So we're going to start by adding in the name, then we'll put in a plus, and then we're going to put in the word report with spaces next to it, and then date, time, year. What you can expect out of this then is when the document is generated, it will show the account name, the word report, and then the year. In our case, when we generate this document, it should show our sample record's name, our sample record being Addendum Corporation. So we can go ahead and click OK, and then that is set into place. Okay, all right. So now let's get into the actual template creation. First thing we want to do is we want to create a little bit of a, I guess you could say, a title field up here. And we're going to do that by using our advanced string field. I'm just going to move myself just over here to make sure you guys can see the Insert Fields button. And to access the advanced string field button, we want to go to the Insert Computed item and then click Advanced String. There, we will see the advanced string window pop up, and we're going to have, well, we can have the same name in here as well, plus, report plus date time. Oops, there. We hit OK, and then the field will appear. And then what we want to do under that is we want to put in the primary contact field for this record, or the primary contact's full name in this record. So we can go down here, we can scroll all the way down, and we need to go to the respective lookup field for the primary contact. You can see here, primary contact. You can go ahead and hit plus on that. And we just want the full name, so we'll scroll down and select the full name right there. Okay. That's looking pretty good. Good start. But now we need to get into creating our tables. So what we want to do here is we want to put in an overview table. To begin, we're just going to put in a single one-by-one table. Going to put in the word overview. Then we're going to go ahead and center that. And then hit enter. So what is this overview section going to look like? Well, we are going to need to rely on our aggregation feature here because the data that we want to display here is not only our respective sales-related entities, but we also want to show off the total number of sales-related entities that we have, but we also want to show off the respective total amount. And that means we're going to have to call upon our aggregation feature for that. So to start, we're just going to go over to the Insert tab and we're going to create a simple 3x4 table. You will see exactly why we're creating this here in just a second, but just to fill in some of this, we're going to put in opportunity, quote, and invoice. And we're going to put in total number, total amount, and then we're going to put in another advanced string field here, which will just have the year. So advanced string, and then we hit OK. Okay, so now we got this table filled out, but not with our data. And so that's what we're going to be doing next. So we're going to go over to the Additional tab, and we're going to go over to here, the Add Relationship/Entity button, in order to start creating our relationships, or our tables in this case. So let's just resize this a little bit. Okay, oops, a little bit too much. All right. So what we want to do here is we want to get the aggregate data for some of our entities. If you've been familiar with the template designer and thus creating relationships, then you already know this dropdown. This is where you can start to establish some of the relationships within your system in order to create tables based on them. In our case, though, we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and we're going to be activating this setting, the Activate Aggregation setting. What this will do is, based on a particular attribute that we'll select here in just a second, we can aggregate that attribute. To give an example, let's try to find our opportunity entity. Let's see, where is it here? Right down here, opportunity. So what we want here is we just want to first get the entity itself. So we're just going to get opportunity, and then what we want for, at least in the case of our opportunity, we want the estimated revenue, which is all the way up here. Now, what we want to select for the aggregate/group by field is we want to make sure that for opportunity, it gives us the count, as we want the total number of opportunities within our environment. And for the estimated revenue, we want the total sum. Both of these have been already selected by default, so we can just go ahead and hit OK. Once you hit OK, you will see that these fields will be displayed over here in the fields list. So we're going to go ahead and click into our table. And then for opportunity total number, we're going to go with our opportunity count field. We're going to double click it. And when it says insert to new table, we're just going to say no, because all I want is just a field representation of this data. We don't want a table. Same goes for the estimated revenue estimated revenue sum field. Okay. So we're going to need to do this for our other entities as well, for quote and for invoice. So we're going to go ahead and find our, well, here's invoice here. Activate aggregation, invoice, and in this case we need to find our total amount field, which will be based on sum. Okay, that's good. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK on that. And then we can just double click that, no, and then double click that, no. And then we have our quote. Once again, we go back into here, and we find our quote. Should be, yes, right here. Select activate aggregation. Go down to quote, count, and then total amount. Okay. With this last one selected, then we can just go ahead and put that in there as well. And like so. Okay. So now we have our overview table finished. I'm going to go ahead and just hit enter there a few more times, and then we're going to put in, oops, that's not what we want. After our table, we're going to insert a page break. So, we've got our overview table now, we've inserted a page break. Now I have to move on to the second part of our template, which is the details section. To begin, we're just going to do what we did earlier and just put in a single cell table, just says details, and then we're going to center that. Now then, for this table, or for this section rather, we're going to be putting in 3 different tables, one for each entity. These tables are going to give a little bit more detail about each entity. So we're not going to be using aggregation for this, it's just going to be a standard dynamic relationship table. If you've worked with this before, then this might come off as a retelling of this information. So we're going to go over to our add relationship edit relationship button, and now we're just going to create a few normal relationship tables. Let's go ahead and find opportunity first, as we found opportunity first earlier. And since we want to give a few details about this entity, let's go ahead and just add in a few different fields. For opportunity, let's go with estimated revenue and estimated close date. Then how about status, and then topic, because that is the name field for this entity. And then we're going to go ahead and hit OK. Now you'll see that our fields list has been updated to reflect the fact that we have a new table. So we're going to go ahead and start by double clicking the topic. And we want a table with header and split header. Okay. So for these fields, or for this table, we're going to put in estimated close date, estimated revenue, and then status. And then for the column names, opportunity, oops. Come on there. All right, and then close date, estimated value, and then status. Then we're going to go ahead and do this for the next two entities as well. So let's go ahead and find quote. And for quote, let's say created on name, then also status, and total amount. Okay. And then we're just going to go ahead and quickly create our invoice table as well. Oops, I think I might have scrolled past it actually. Ah, here it is. Okay. Okay, then let's see. Due date, why not? Name, and then let's see, status and total amount. Okay. Then let's shrink that down, hit OK, and then let's put these tables in as well. It's going to be a similar structure for each. Split header, hit OK, and then we want to put the created on date here, total amount, status, and then the names created on, total amount, and status. Then invoice. Same thing there. Header, split header, and 1, 2. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Due date, total amount, status. Then invoice. Due date. Total amount. And status. Okay. So there we have it for the tables. We've got both the details and the overview section done. However, there's one other thing I want to put in here before we test out our template, and that is a table of contents. Table of contents can be rather handy because sometimes you just want to have a little bit more organization in there. So we're going to go ahead and insert one in here, just a regular table of contents. Now, if we want the table of contents to actually have something in there, we need to make sure we apply some headers. So let's apply heading 1 to overview, and heading 1 to details, and then we'll apply heading 2 to our other entities here. Then if we go ahead and update the table of contents will reflect these changes. Okay, there we go. Now I think we have a solid template here. Title, table of contents, overview, and a details section. So I think it's now time to go ahead and save our template. We'll go back over to the mscrm-addons tab and click on Save Template over here in the top left corner. And now let's give our template a name. Let's say Account Sales Overview. And then we'll hit OK. Just give it a moment to save. We're just going to go ahead and hit yes there. And sometimes it might take a little bit to save your template, but once it's done, we can go ahead and go check out our environment. With our template saved now, we're going to go ahead and go into our record here, our addendum corporation record. We're going to go ahead and go over to the Create Document button, and we're going to go ahead and click on Let Me Decide Every Step to find our template manually. Click on Account Sales Overview, which is our template. And then we're going to attach this as a note so we can find it more easily. And leave the file type as PDF. And then we're going to go ahead and create our document. Depending on your document, it may take longer or shorter. But after a little bit, you can see that we can check a preview, and we can see our dynamic name coming through here, ADM Corporation Sample Report 2023. But we're going to go ahead and click Finish to make sure it shows up in our timeline here. I'm going to go ahead and refresh that. And here you see our template, or our document generated based on our template. I'm going to go ahead and download that to get a better view of it, open it up. Now you'll see the title has been properly generated, our primary contact's in there, our table of contents there, overviews there, along with our opportunity quote invoice totals, and our details here. Looks like everything generated just as expected. In that case, then it looks like we are done here. Our template has been created and we successfully generated a document based upon it. Thank you all so much for watching this video. We hope that you found it to be very helpful. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and make sure to consider checking out our video description to get a link to our website and a link to this template as well. We hope this has been very helpful. Thank you once again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.